The date is October 25th in the year 2023. My name is Anita Hecht, and I have the great pleasure and honor of interviewing Mr. Lloyd, Joyce, to record the stories of your life for the Finnip Foundation and the Garden City Oral History Project and capture some of your memories of Garden City over the 102 years that you've been here. So thank you for agreeing to this interview.
Thank you.
So we are at the Community Congregational Church in Garden City, Kansas, and I again just want to thank you for agreeing to do this interview, Lloyd.
Well, thank you.
Tell me when and where you were born.
Where I was born?
And when.
I was born on the 17th of June in 1921 on a farm out in Finney County. The doctor came down to deliver me.
So you were born at home?
I was born at home.
And who was in your family, in your immediate family?
When I was born, I had one brother that was 2 years old when I was born.
Okay. And so you lived on a farm?
Yes.
And you were number 2 of how many children?
5.
5. Tell me who your parents were.
Milo and Rosa Joyce.
Do you know anything about your father's family history and how he got to Finney County?
I know a little. Let's see. He was born in Wisconsin. And if I remember right, he was 5 or 6 years old when they moved from there to eastern Kansas. And let's see,
Do you know why they came to eastern Kansas?
they came here to my dad's older brother, Ed Joyce, had bought a farm, and he wanted my dad to come and farm it.
And help him?
My uncle, he had a job in West Standard Oil, where he was in Wichita most of the time. So he had wanted my dad to come and farm.
I think you also mentioned that he had a car dealership. Did somebody have a car dealership?
My uncle did.
Okay.
Yes.
Also in Wichita?
Yes. No, I think maybe that was Little River.
Okay.
Because they were in Little River first.
And so then what brought your dad to Finney County then? Because he first came to eastern Kansas.
Yeah, and then my uncle Ed, who was older than my dad, he bought this land out there, and he wanted my dad to come out. And everything was grass at that time. There was very little farmland anywhere. So he wanted my dad to come out and start farming that. Of course, there was horses then, you know.
And we'll get there. So that farmland was here in Finney County?
Pardon?
Was that farmland here?
Yeah, it was in Finney.
Okay.
About 25 miles north and east of Garden City.
Okay, and that's where you were born?
Yes.
Okay. And what about your mother's side? Where was she from, and where did that
Let's see.
family come from? Rosa.
Let's see. She was from.
I think you said to me when we first talked from Missouri, Stansbury.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah. Stansbury, wasn't it? Did I give you that name?
You did.
I hadn't thought of it for a long time.
Did your parents meet in Wisconsin then?
No, my mother was never in Wisconsin.
So they must have met in Kansas.
I think so.
Okay.
While they were in Little River, I think.
Okay. And what about their ethnic or immigration story? Do you know where they came from originally, going back, your ancestors?
Well, let's see. I don't know too far back.
I think you
They
s-
were all born in the United States.
Yeah.
Both were born in the United States, I know that.
What I remember hearing, maybe from your daughter, was that your father's side was Irish. Could that
Yeah.
be? And your mother's more German and English?
German and Irish.
Or German, okay.
And English, I think.
Okay. So they got married, and then they had your brother, your older brother, also here in Kansas.
Yes.
And then you come along in 1921. Tell me about the farm that you grew up on. What did it look like? How much land was there?
Well, at first it was all grass,
Okay.
and they had more livestock and not so much farming. Then as time went on, the whole country just started being plowed up, And I guess everybody thought it was better to farm than to raise livestock.
And your parents, did they start raising crops too?
Yes.
And how did that look in those days? Because I imagine it was before.
Well, where we were at first, there was very little farmland.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad had to break out the sod. My uncle, who was older than my dad by 6 years, he bought this land. I think he traded his automobile business in Little River for the land.
Uh-huh. And how much land was it?
To begin with, it was 640 acres.
Wow, that's a lot. And when they farmed it, they used horses?
Yes.
No tractors in those days?
Not until, I think they got the first tractor in, let's see, 27 or 28 if I got a tractor.
Okay. So you remember a tractor from your childhood?
Yes.
Okay. What were the crops that you all grew?
Back then they used to, you know what milo is now.
Mm-hmm.
And some people call it maize, but it's at first they started raising corn more.
Mm-hmm.
Corn and wheat, that was the main crop, and then barley, they raised barley.
What did they do with the crops once they harvested
What
them?
they fed to the animals, they kept at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest went to well, at first it went to the little town of Friend.
Hmm.
You know where Friend is?
Mm-mm.
Out on the Phoenix County line.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's not very big. It never was very big.
Okay.
At the time we lived out there was 2 grocery stores in it, though, and a hardware store. You could get all your necessities there.
And how did you bring the crops to Friend?
At first with horses.
With horses and
a wagon.
and a wagon.
That was a slow process.
Was it?
That was before I was involved in it, of course.
Okay. And what about the livestock? Did they raise
Yeah,
livestock?
they always had livestock.
And did they just use them for personal use or also sell?
No, they had them for personal use, but there was milk cows, and then they always had cows that they raised calves to sell. Once a year they'd sell calves,
Mm-hmm. In the fall? Was it usually in the fall?
Well,
Here?
it could vary.
Okay. Tell me about water, because
We
this
always
was-
had to have windmills.
you had windmills. And so was the water that you used to feed, were you dependent on just the rainfall?
For crops, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then did you have a well
Yes.
as well?
With a windmill that
Mm-hmm.
pumped the water.
Okay. So you were born in 1921.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your earliest memory is?
One of my earliest memories is seeing my sister that was born 2 years after I was. They had a doctor come to the farm, And I just remember seeing her after the doctor left. They had, my brother and I, we had this, I remember we stayed out, there wasn't any other place to be, to stay out of the house. It wasn't a very big house out there that time. So we sat in the car while this was going on.
While she was being born?
Right.
So you had a car.
Yeah.
You had a car.
Model T cars.
Okay. Were the roads, were there many roads? Were they all
Not
dirt?
very many, no. I remember when about all of the roads were put in out there. It was just buffalo grass, you know.
Interesting. Were there any buffalo?
No, the buffalo were gone.
They were gone. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your early memories. Did you get to go to school?
Yeah, I went to country school, and then I went part way through college.
Okay.
I mean, high school, and then this was years later. Then I got some college.
Okay. But this country school, where was it, and how did you get there, and who came there?
Sunrise was the name of the school, and we lived in two different places, I guess, while I was going to that school. And it was what they called a consolidated school. That was so then I settled that they had to, when it was consolidated, they had to haul them with a bus or a car, just a regular passenger car. Most of the schools that weren't consolidated, that's what was always my understanding. After they're consolidated, they're so far apart from them, they had to be hauled. Because by then people had cars of some kind.
Mm-hmm. How many students were there in your class? Do you remember?
Well, in the whole school, there was usually 20 or so.
Okay. So were all the grades together?
All in one room.
And do you remember how was it heated in the winter?
Coal.
Did you all have to do that yourselves as students?
Well, the teacher did it most of the time.
The teacher did it.
Then later on, when there was some of the kids, boys that were old enough, they had them be the ones that would put coal in, because they had to put coal in once in a while during the day, you know.
Mm-hmm. What was your day like? So did you get up in the morning and go straight to school, or did you have to go to work first and
milk cows?
What time?
What?
What time did you get up?
Around 6:30.
Okay.
School I started at 9.
And how old were you when you started milking cows?
I think 7.
Every day?
Morning and night.
Morning and night, okay.
The kids all worked till I was young.
Mm-hmm. So most of the kids at the school were farm kids?
Yes, all of them worked.
So you all went to work before you went to school?
Yes.
And then you all went back to work at the end of your school day?
After school was over, well, it was all we had to do was milk cows again.
Okay.
Feed the hogs.
Feed the hogs. Did you have any pets? Dogs or cats or?
Oh, we always had cats, and if you got a cat, you usually have more than one. Pretty quick, but we always had a family dog too.
Okay. And what did you do for fun? Besides work and school, how did you play games? Were there kids around?
You mean at home or in school?
At home. Do you have a radio? What did you get to listen to?
We didn't have a radio for quite a while. We finally did. And of course, we never had TV then. I guess the radio, you've heard about Amos and Andy.
Yes.
We always watched Amos and Andy. Listen to him, I mean, you know, before we had a TV.
I'm curious also about Garden City. Did you get to come into town every now and then?
Once in a while, but not very often.
And what was it like here in town?
It
What do you
wasn't-
remember?
Wasn't near as many people there.
Did it feel like coming to a big city or?
It seemed like a pretty big city when you go to town. You know.
Uh-huh. What do you remember? Any particular stores or any particular
Stores?
places that you went?
Yeah, I remember there was an let's see, what was that? IGA was independent.
A grocery store?
Yeah,
Okay.
IGA, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
but
could
that's
be.
the independent grocery. That doesn't matter, but there was two of those, and there was one in particular where we nearly always go, because we could take my parents always churned and made butter, and they had a little mold molded in pounds, and they'd sell that butter or trade butter in when they buy groceries. And then, of course, we sold cream to a creamery.
How did you keep things cold at home?
The windmill pumped water through we called it a milk trough. It was just a tank that the windmill pumped water through it. And it went through that on out into the stock tank.
And it was cold water?
Yeah,
So you could keep things
right
cold?
out of the ground, you know.
Yeah. So no refrigerator.
No refrigerator.
Any electricity?
No electricity for a long time.
How about plumbing?
No.
No. So an outhouse?
Outhouse.
You really have seen a
Sometimes it's
lot.
kind of cold place to go.
You've seen a lot of changes in your
Oh, yeah.
lifetime. My gosh. One of the other things I'm interested in hearing about is the Depression years, which can't have been very easy. I mean, the dirty 30s, do you remember?
I sure remember.
Tell me about it.
Oh, it would. By then, we'd cut back the livestock because we weren't raising much to feed them. And those dust storms would come up, and of course, we'd try to get to the house and be in the house when it was coming. It'd be so dark we'd have to light kerosene lamps, you know. And
So you would see the dust coming?
you could see it coming. It just kind of rolled. I don't know why. It just seemed like it rolled like this. You could see it a long ways away. And it was just as quiet as it could be until that hit.
And then it was loud?
The wind was, well,
Yeah.
you know how it would sound, just whipping around the buildings. But
And then what happened with all of that dirt and dust? Did it?
it piled up. You've seen snow drift up against buildings and anything that will stop it. The dust was the same way. We had piles of dust against everything. And then each year after the storms were over, we had an old grader that at that time the county had graders that they used horses with.
To grade the roads.
And then when they quit using the horses, well, then they sold those old graders, and my dad bought one of them. So that's what we used to. It had a long blade. That blade was 12 feet long, I think. And we just go along and level those piles of dirt down.
Huh.
It was just like snow.
Yeah.
The dust was just like snow is now.
Wow. And so I think you also said that it wasn't very healthy and you could get sick from breathing it.
Yeah. My dad, it bothered him more than all the rest of us for some reason. He really got bad.
Did he get pneumonia?
Yeah, they called it dust pneumonia.
Wow. And what were his symptoms? His coughing or?
Yeah, it was just hard to breathe.
Yeah.
It seemed like. I never had dust pneumonia myself, but it seemed like maybe it was because my dad was probably out in it more. But he got it awful bad.
And he got over it though.
Yeah.
So when this happened, the Dust Bowl, were you able to grow anything? What happened
There
to your
was a
crops?
few years we didn't grow anything. But
How did you survive?
I've wondered that a lot of times myself. We just got by without. We always had milk cows, so we always had cream and chickens to sell, eggs to sell. That was the income sometimes for.
And you always had a garden? Could you grow a garden if you had well water?
Yeah, we had a garden always.
Uh-huh.
We always had a pretty big garden. That was all the fresh vegetables.
So you ate vegetables, dairy, sometimes meat. Did you get meat?
Yeah, we well, we always had calves, you know. We usually butcher one cow a year.
Okay.
But normally when we butchered, several farmers to go together, we didn't have any refrigeration. You couldn't keep a lot of meat, you know.
Right.
So several farmers would go together and they'd kill one critter and divide that up amongst maybe 2 or 3 farms. And there's no way to keep it very long,
Right.
you know.
And what did your mother cook with? Was it a wood stove?
You know, coal.
Coal, okay. And
Yeah,
where
we
did you
did.
get your coal?
We used to get it at Friend,
Okay.
and then later Garden City.
How were the winters?
What?
How were the winters on the farm?
Just like they are now, cold.
Cold. And so you heated with coal as
Heated
well?
with coal.
Did you ever have any blizzards or get
Yes.
stuck in a blizzard?
Yeah, one of the worst blizzard I remember was in 1936. And that was bad all over the Midwest. I guess you heard about the blizzard in Colorado where those buses stalled out there, and I think there was 6 kids in one bus froze to death.
Ugh. But everybody in your family survived.
We weren't in that one.
Yeah.
That was Colorado.
Right.
And in Colorado, it was so long ways between houses there, you know. It was just being developed.
So as you grew older, tell me what you did on the farm. Besides milking cows, were you in charge of other kinds of jobs as you grew up?
Well, my brother and I, we drove, as soon as we were old enough, we drove tractors.
Okay.
We didn't have to be very old.
12?
What?
12 years old or
12 or 14.
12 or 14? So you drove tractor. I think you also told me you went around and checked fences
Yeah.
and there were a few snakes involved.
Yeah, there were rattlesnakes everywhere then.
And tell me more. How did you deal with that?
Well, we tried to kill them when we had any time we could. We could kill them with rocks or anything, you know. And then we used to have, my brother and I used to have these bean shooters, you know, you have a forked stick. You've heard about those, haven't you?
Describe it for me.
Yeah,
So
it
you had
has
2 sticks.
We'd cut strips from an inner tube from a car tire that goes in a car tire, and we'd have this forked stick up here, and we'd pull that back, and you could have a rock in there, you know.
Hit it on the head.
You got where you could do pretty well with them.
So you killed a few rattlesnakes. Did you ever get bitten?
No,
Did anybody get bitten that you knew?
yeah, I did. I never knew anybody die from it, but I knew one guy I think who was bitten twice. But they always
Get pretty
survived.
sick?
They had what do they call that they gave them? They were supposed to it would help get rid of the poison some way when you take a shot.
Anything else about changes you saw during the Depression or afterwards in Garden City or the surroundings? For example, did Roosevelt bring in projects to the area?
Yes, sure did. Yeah. Most all farmers then would be involved in some of those projects. That was a job they could get. They didn't get paid much, but they got paid. They worked on roads or built bridges on some of the roads that needed a bridge. And
Was that true for your father?
what?
Did your father also
He helped do that, yeah.
work? Okay. And how did most people feel about Roosevelt?
Out here, I think most of them thought he did a good job because
Lifted people out of the Depression?
it helped.
Yeah.
It helped a lot of the farmers out
Yeah.
there. Maybe it helped farmers more than anybody else. I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, we're getting up to World War II. And I know you served in World War II. We probably can't spend the whole interview talking about your 37 months in the Army, but can you tell me what part of the Army you were in and where you were stationed? First of all, were you drafted or did you
Yes.
enlist? You were drafted? Okay.
As soon as I reached 21, I was drafted, and I was down at Fort Riley, and they asked you, if you have any preference, what branch you want to do, And I thought it'd be good if since I was planning on farming, I asked to go to a mechanic school, so they let me go to a mechanic school down at Fort Riley. And then as soon as the school was out, they sent me to San Francisco for a few days, and then we got on a ship, took off for the South Pacific. So I was down in the South Pacific then a little over 3 years, I guess.
Wow. That must have been quite an experience.
It's a lot different than anything else, yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that in a different interview because I'm really curious about how you...
What was that?
I'm curious about that time, but we don't have much time here to speak about it. Do you think it affected you or shaped you? Did you know you wanted to come back to farming afterwards, or did you...
No, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Say that again?
I knew that's what I wanted to do.
You already knew that you wanted to farm, even though you had gone into the Army and gone...
Yeah, as soon as I got out of the Army, I started farming again.
Did you see combat in the
Yeah.
Pacific? You did? And, well...
Lost a lot of my good friends.
You did? I'm sorry. Rough time.
I was very lucky. I did get wounded. I was in the hospital a month.
Where were you in the hospital? Where was that?
Pardon?
Where was the hospital?
Oh, it was in, let's see, the Adventure Islands, and then they sent me to another, what the heck is the name of that island?
Well, it's okay. But you survived,
Yep, I survived.
and and you came back home.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to come back home? Were there others coming back home with you?
Oh, yes,
and
also.
what was the reception here?
Yeah, there was a lot of them coming back, yeah.
Was there a welcome parade or anything for you all when you came home?
I don't know that there was. Of course, I was on the farm. Maybe they had some in town I
Yeah.
didn't know about. I don't know.
So what came next for you after you came home from
What,
the
what?
war? What happened next after you came home from the war?
Well, let's see. I had an older brother, and he didn't get drafted. They didn't take everybody. He since I was in, I guess he didn't have to go yet. You know, some places more of them had to. It depended on how many people were around. Seemed like, but after I got home, I always wanted to farm, and then wanted to have livestock. We'd go down to Texas or else New Mexico or Colorado and buy lambs. Usually we call it a band of them, but usually about 1,000 to 1,100 we'd get at a time.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
And so you'd bring the lambs back and
Ship them back on the train, and we'd ship ours out to you know where Tennis is. Tennis, there's an elevator out there just north of town up there. Tennis and Friends on the county line.
Okay.
The sheep would either go to Tennis or.
How do you spell that? Tennis? What's the name?
Is it Tennis?
Tennis. Okay. Like the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the name of the town.
Okay.
It's not much town, it's the elevators.
And so with the sheep, did you sell the wool or did you sell the meat, or how did you make a business out of
when
it?
we'd buy just lambs and bring them in and keep them during the winter months, we'd just get the gain and then we'd resell them. They were ready to go to the slaughterhouse by then. Mm-hmm. But we also had a ewe herd, and we raised lambs.
So was that a good business for you and your brother?
It was good then, you know.
Yeah. And was it on the family farm, or where did
Yes.
you? Okay. So you kept living on the same land that you grew up on?
Well, we kept accumulating a little more all the time.
Uh-huh. And in those years, you also got married and started a family.
What?
You got married and started a family during those years?
Yes.
Did you raise your children on the farm? Or did you move into Garden City at some point?
We started on the farm, but we moved to town pretty quick
Okay.
after we were married.
What year was that?
Let's see.
Must have been in the...
47 was it?
Was that
No,
around
let's
late
see.
40s, early 50s?
Gosh, I can't remember when.
It's okay. But I have that you got married in 1947. So
Yeah.
pretty soon after you moved
That's
to town.
when I moved to town. Or we moved.
And why did you move to town?
Where?
Why?
Well, we just didn't have any place to live out in the country.
So the family farm no longer, you couldn't stay there?
Well, there was still young ones at home, and my parents were still living on the farm.
I see. So you had to get out.
So when you got married,
You left home.
booted.
They got booted.
No, not really.
So you moved into Garden City. Can you tell me a little bit about your memories of Garden City in the 50s, in the 1950s? Restaurants, stores, movie theaters. It was like...
There was 2 theaters. Mm-hmm. The Ritz was in the south part of town. That's one I usually went to. It was cheaper. If I went to there. And then the State Theater was up north on the east side of the street, almost the north end of town, the main street. Mm-hmm. Once in a while we'd go to the Ritz, but it cost more to go to the State Theater.
Do you remember any movies that you saw? Any favorite movies? or actors or?
Oh gosh, I guess there's none that really impressed me
Okay.
enough to remember for sure.
Was there still segregation in those days?
Yes.
Tell me what you remember about that.
Well, at first, the black people had to go up to the balcony, and anybody that wasn't white, what they call white, that was an awful thing to happen. Most everybody I know of that ever went to them, they didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was sure segregation that should never have happened.
Was that also true in other places around town, in
Yes.
the restaurants or the swimming pool, or?
Well, motels or hotels, that showed up more.
I see.
Somebody that wasn't white had a hard time getting a room or getting a place to stay if it stayed over. That was one of the worst things that ever happened in this country.
Were there many people who weren't white in Garden City at the time?
Most of them were.
Most of them were white,
Yes.
but there were some minorities here?
Yeah, there was a few. There was more Mexican people because they worked on the railroads, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of Mexican people.
I think you also mentioned calling some farmers suitcase farmers.
You know, suitcase farmers.
What was that? Who were they?
There was somebody that lived in Wichita or somewhere else, and they'd usually have we call them cook shacks. They'd have a sort of like a house trailer, you know, that they'd stay in while they're out there working, and then as soon as they get through working the ground, they'd go back home for a while, and then they'd come back. That's what we call suitcase farmers.
And were they different or the same as migrant workers?
They were different, I guess, because they owned the land and
okay.
they farmed their own.
But I think you also mentioned that there were migrant workers who came through. And what did they do for work?
We didn't have them so much out where I was. Closer to town, we had a sugar factory, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them worked in the sugar factory, and a lot of them worked on farms because they had to do a lot of hoeing, hand work with those sugar beets. I never raised sugar beets.
No. And most of those workers were Mexicans or Hispanics?
Yeah.
Did you also work with Mexicans doing the sheep herding, or
Yeah.
you hired?
A lot of the sheep herders were Mexican people. They would come here from Colorado or New Mexico and work during the winter, and then go back when the sheep are all sold.
So you had some working for you?
What?
Did they work for you as well? You and your brother? Okay.
The only ones I had was for sheep, I guess.
Okay. And what were the relationships like between the Mexican community and the white community?
What?
The relationship like between the Mexican community and the white community?
As far as I'm concerned, there was no difference. We never treated him any different.
And aside from the segregation, was there usually a pretty welcoming feel, you think, in this town to the immigrants that came through? Were they welcomed for the most part? Aside from the segregation, do you think they were treated okay here?
Well, as far as I know, all of them were treated good.
Okay.
You know, I've never heard where they weren't treated well.
Okay. A lot of changes started happening, though, in the 1960s and in the 1970s. There was an end to segregation. The schools started to integrate. What did you feel, how did you see changes happening to Garden City as we move up in time to the 60s and the 70s? Did you notice changes to the city or to the population?
I probably didn't notice it like a lot of people would lived in town because I was out in the
Because you were
country.
out in the countryside?
Yeah.
I see. Your kids grew up here, and they went to school here, right?
Yes.
What do you think their experience was like? Was it very different than yours growing up on the farm?
Doing what?
How were their lives different than yours on the farm?
How were whose lives?
Your children's.
Oh. Well, my children was a whole lot alike because as long as they were home, they worked on the farm.
Oh, right? Really?
Yeah. So theirs was a whole lot like mine, only they ran tractors instead of horses.
Okay. You put them to work.
Yeah.
All right.
Never had any of them balk at all. They're always willing.
So they went through the schools here,
Mm-hmm.
and did they continue to farm as well, or did they move on and do different things?
No, my daughter married a farmer. And she's the only one that's still connected with farming. The boys all went a different direction. Well, two of them worked for oil and gas companies,
Okay.
and then one of them was a doctor.
So he went to college and then to medical school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you had 4 children, right?
Yeah, 3 boys and a girl.
And what did the third boy do? Or 2 of them?
Well, let's see. The third one's the one that went to medical school.
Okay.
The other 2 worked for oil and gas companies.
Okay, I got that. All right. And how did your work change? Did you continue to herd sheep? Is that how you made the...
How was that?
Did you continue to herd sheep, to have sheep? Or did you...
No, they never had sheep.
No, you. How did your work evolve? Did you...
What part did I play in raising sheep, you mean?
I'm just asking you, did you do that for your whole life of working, or did you change back to farming?
Eventually it got where the sheep business wasn't much good, and we quit that.
Okay.
There's so much of it going on that there wasn't enough difference between fatting sheep and buying ones to feed out, so you got where it couldn't make much money at it.
So what did you do next?
Just kept farming.
Kept farming. Milo?
Milo, corn,
Okay.
and wheat.
And then you delivered it to where? Or sold it where? Did you sell it?
Well, most of it went to Tennis or a Friend,
Okay.
because that was the nearest market. It was a little further for us to take it to Garden City.
Do you remember when the big businesses moved in, like the packing plants, the beef packing plants?
I can't remember the dates on those. I sure remember.
Sort of the 80s, I think it was the 1980s.
I suppose.
But what do you remember about how that changed?
Well,
things?
it gave a lot of farmers jobs for the winter that worked in those packing plants. Otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot that they could do in the winter.
What did you do in the winter?
I usually had sheep in the winter.
Okay. So you didn't go to work at the packing plants?
No.
No. How long did you work? Until what age did you work? When did you retire?
No, let me see.
I think you
I quit, but I kept helping sometimes. I kind of forget what year I quit. Did I tell you sometime or other?
I think you wrote down it was in the early 90s, like 1991 maybe.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
And how did you stay involved in farming or in the community? Did you have other things that you started to do once you retired?
Well, I kept helping the kids when I could.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, I guess I wasn't involved in much of anything.
I have that you joined the board of the Finney County Historical Society.
Yeah.
Was there a particular part of the history that you're interested in?
What's that?
What part of the history of Finney County are you interested in? Or what did your work on the board?
Well, there's not very many people living that knows how it used to be, you know.
Right.
I don't know how to answer that question.
What do you think are the biggest changes? The of all the ways that it used to be, what do you consider the biggest changes you've witnessed?
Well, I can remember when we used to go to grocery stores, we used to go around and pick up what we wanted to buy, you know, or my parents did. And it's a whole lot like it is now, where now all the stores now, I guess, you have those buggies to push around to get your groceries in. But way back, we didn't have that, and you just go up to the counter and tell them what you wanted, you know, and then you go back and get it and bring it up to the county.
Oh, you didn't go get it. People would get it for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when we weren't buying everything we used. We made it ourselves a lot of the time.
So that's a big change. You used to
Yeah, it
make a
was.
lot more of what you used.
Yeah.
Butter, cream.
You always had our own butter, yes.
What else did you used to make that people buy today? Bread?
No, we never sold bread.
Did your mother make bread though?
She made bread all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never had any, very seldom ever had any other kind of bread except homemade.
Uh-huh.
It's still the best, but no many people make it anymore.
Nobody knows how.
What?
Probably nobody knows how quite.
Well, I don't know. I got pretty good recipes.
Yeah. Are there other ways that life is very different today for you when you think back? Wow, things have changed. What is it that you think about? I mean, we have obvious electricity and plumbing and heating and transportation.
Yeah, the plumbing is one of the best improvements we ever had. And of course, electricity is what made everything change. That helped an awful lot when they started having a rural electric.
Rural electrification. When did that come into your home? Do you remember how old you were?
That was just coming in to our out where we were. People that were closer to town, they were involved with the Garden City Company that had the electricity. But then later, there's a different, I don't know just how that came about, but they started the rural electric, I've forgotten how they called that.
Rural electrification, I think.
Anyway, that's when the
Act, yes.
electricity became available for people farther from town.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big help.
You know what they're doing now? Now they're doing it with the internet.
Yeah.
They're bringing the internet to rural areas.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's another way the world has changed.
Yeah, that was quite a change.
Do you work on computers at all, or do you?
I don't mess with the computer.
You don't mess with a computer. Telephones have changed quite a bit.
You know, that telephones does now. Everybody has a telephone.
Did you ever have a telephone at home?
Yeah, in the last few years I was. Well, you talk about.
When did you first get your telephone? When you were growing up?
I guess I got that while I was in the Army. My folks got the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when they got theirs.
Do you remember your phone number?
No. I don't.
Your first phone number?
I
Okay.
don't think I might have had to try hard enough.
Uh-huh. Tell me about your community work, because you got involved with the Sunday school, groundhog suppers, co-op board. Anything you want to share about any of those activities?
Yeah, we had those groundhog suppers for a good many years that I was involved in.
What were those?
They were sausage suppers. It was groundhog, only we'd buy whole hogs. You know, normally they kind of use the scrap meat to make sausage. But when we made the sausage, it was the whole hog. They used the hams and the bacon and everything, you know, and all ground up. It was better sausage.
Mm. And was that through the church?
Yes.
Or who came to the suppers?
Everybody would come. I belonged, by the time I was helping, I used to belong to the Christian church, and then my wife belonged to the Methodist church, so for some reason that's where we ended up. But I always helped with the groundhog suppers.
Mm-hmm. And you fed the whole town?
Yeah.
Raised money
We
that
used
way?
it to make money.
Mm-hmm. And then what was the money used for?
Oh, they bought stuff for the church more, I guess, anything. I don't think we made a whole lot of money.
Okay.
I think it cost about as much to buy all the stuff to make the sausage that we got for it.
Do you remember any of the founding families? Did you know any of the Finnips or any of the other families that had been here for a long time?
I don't know if I knew any of the. I knew some of the films when I'd see them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what was? Let's see, there was an Alonzo, wasn't it? Alonzo.
A Finnip? I know there was a Frederick.
What?
There was a Frederick Finnip, but I don't know an
Yeah.
Alonzo.
Yeah, there's a Frederick. I guess I don't know how to answer that right
Okay.
now. I
That's
hadn't
fine.
thought of that for a long time, if I actually knew any of the films.
So how does it feel to be 102?
Feels pretty old.
Feels pretty old.
I've been lucky, though. I've had good health most of the time.
Have you?
Yeah.
No big health scares or accidents or illnesses?
You know, I had malaria when I was in the Army, and then it came back on me. 5 years later, it came back. And I think I was sicker then than I was the first time.
Really? Did you get health care here then?
Yes.
To go to St. Catherine's or to a clinic?
Yeah, that's where we'd go to.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go to Dr. Miner. You heard of him, I guess.
That's Caverly's
Yeah.
grandfather, I think,
Yeah.
right? So he was another
Yeah, I knew him very well.
original. You
What?
did? He was another original Garden City resident.
Yeah.
What do you think makes this place unique or special?
Yeah, Garden City.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of a melting pot. There's all kinds of different nationalities here. It's kind of everything kind of, like they say, melt together and they all get along well. I hope they always do, but as far as I know, they do now.
You really have people here now from all over the world.
Yeah.
Have you ever met anybody or befriended anybody who is very different than you, from a different country?
Oh gosh, have I not?
It says there's Vietnamese people here, people
Yeah.
from Africa, from
Yeah.
South America.
The Vietnamese are pretty well liked here, I think, aren't they, as far as I know?
But really, it is a kind of a Middle America melting pot.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right, right. Do you have any hopes or fears about the future of Garden City or this area?
No, I guess I don't.
People talk a lot about the water being kind of a big issue.
The water's less and less all the time.
Yeah.
I think the irrigation is limited from now on.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine eventually we'll have to stop all the irrigation.
So we'll go back to the dust bowls?
Yeah, that'll do.
That would be hard.
Yeah, I'm sure we can't just keep pumping all the water out of the ground. It's getting deeper all the time, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Pretty soon there's going to be a bottom down there.
Pretty soon there'll be a bottom, right? So if you hadn't been a farmer, is there anything else that you would have wanted to try?
Oh, I don't know. I thought about being a mechanic because I went to mechanic school in the Army, you know.
Right.
And, but
I bet that helped you with farming.
Yeah, I
taking
did.
care of all the machinery. Yeah. One other question I had is when you were farming, I assume you had to buy a lot of machinery.
yes.
Did you then go to a bank here to get a loan? Or?
Yeah, that's the only way I could do it, yeah.
And then you paid that off over the...
Yeah.
What bank did you go to?
Fidelity.
Fidelity.
That was, while the man originally was there, he was always a good friend of my dad and mother banked there all the time. And so that's where all of us kids started. And then later different people came in, and so I changed to a different bank.
Mm-hmm.
Western State Bank, and that's where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't borrow any money from them anymore, but that's where I put my savings to try to accumulate a little interest.
Right. So, do you have any messages to your kids and grandkids, and how many grandchildren do you have, and do you have any great grandchildren? And
Let's see, I guess I have 9 grandchildren.
9. Any greats? Any great grandchildren?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2, I guess now. Maybe there's 3 now.
So they'll be listening to you someday on this videotape.
Oh, they are?
Anything you want to share with them? Hopes you have for them, or anything you want to say to them?
No, I think they know what to do.
Any values you want to pass down? Do you hope they stay in Garden City or come visit?
Yeah, but a lot of them have already left.
Yeah. But it sounds like it's been a pretty good life for you here.
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know of any better place I could have been for what I did and everything.
Okay. Is there anything else I haven't asked you that you would like to say or share about the history or about your feelings about this place?
Oh. All I can say, if you treat everybody right, you'll do well living here. I don't know anything else to say about
Well,
it.
that's a pretty good lesson. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Well, I kind of enjoy it too.
Oh, good. Great. It's been a pleasure. And you did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.